Hey guys, welcome back to Reignited. Now we're going to talk about the future of Stellantis. Where do they go from here? But of course, we also need to talk about what got them here in the first place. Why are we here? So we're going to talk about that in the first half, some of the problems that they're currently facing based on my experiences. And then the second half of the video, we're going to focus on maybe some changes that they can make into the future so that they can be a successful company once again. Now, myself currently, you guys know I've been a Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram employee for a long time, been a tech for them for the last 14 years. So I am pretty invested in this company's future, like where they go, because I don't really feel like switching to a different manufacturer and trying to learn a whole new manufacturer. It's not that big of a deal, but it is kind of a pain. I know Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram products. I'd like to stick with it if possible, but who knows where the company is going to be in a few years. So again, I'm pretty invested in this. So first, let's focus in on exactly how they got here. And I think all of you guys can really pinpoint the problem as well. And that is that they've chased this EV mindset under the leadership of Carlos Tavares. Now we know that he is gone. He has officially resigned. Man, there's such a sigh of relief from pretty much all of us. Well, I guess I can only speak for myself, but I know many people I've talked to have just said, thank goodness that guy is gone, because it seems like everybody who works for Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram felt like we were headed down the wrong path. It's like, where are we going and what are we doing? It was mind-boggling. I literally cannot understand how one person can have so much influence that even when there are all these red flags and all these markers saying you're going the wrong way, profits are down, the shares are down, everything is down, but he somehow convinced people that no, there's a light at the end of this tunnel and we're going to come out the other side smelling like a rose. I don't get it. I'm completely baffled by that. But I have to say, thank goodness that he has resigned. I'm sure you guys have seen some of the other news reports out there that basically Stellantis right now is completely backtracking on basically everything that he did. They're trying to turn things around, get V8s back in the vehicles. Obviously, there's an impact of the political situation, the political change here. Now, you guys know 1000% I do not get involved in politics on my channel. But of course, there are realities. So we have to understand that when there is a change, that there are different political realities, and there's going to be different standards. That is driving a lot of this. There's no question about it. We know that there's probably going to be relaxed standards on a lot of this EV stuff that's out there. That's making a huge difference. We know that, and it's probably the impetus for Carlos Tavares actually resigning now rather than extending his contract all the way out to 2026 like he was supposed to originally. Now, these changes can lead to some exciting things for the future, but again, we're going to talk about that a little bit later in the video. For right now, I want to talk about the current issues I'm seeing within the company, and we have to start with one of their biggest fall-in-your-face blunders that they've made, and that is the Dodge Hornet. Yes, a vehicle that absolutely nobody asked for, that's based off of a European branded vehicle that is not selling whatsoever at all because, surprise, surprise, no one wanted it. Like, why did we build this thing? There was never a call saying, man, I wish I had this crossover hybrid SUV that has this weird like boost thing in it, but everything about it feels European. I mean, I've been pretty clear on my stance with this thing, and you guys have seen my videos in the past. This Hornet is terrible. It's a terrible car, and it's your classic terrible European car. I mean, you get in this thing and there's nothing that says American manufacturing at all. It says European 1000%, and it acts just like a European car. It's a 1.3 liter turbo hybrid thing. Like, what? And it looks terrible. It looks like an egg. How does that scream performance in any way? I don't know. That car upsets me greatly. I cannot stand that they actually brought that thing in production. And I'm so glad that it is selling terribly, because it just makes the show, why are you selling a car that no one asked for? Which leads me to the next problem, and it's the real problem here. The new Charger EV. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen all of these reviews that have come out. They've had all sorts of testers go out, test this thing, and they had that embargo lifted, so now they're all putting out their reviews of this car, and the results are solidly, right? I mean, on the muscle car side of things, we don't feel like it's a muscle car because it's an EV, but also it's not actually that fast as compared to a lot of other EV-based vehicles. And then on the EV side of things, it's solidly because it's not so good as an EV either. The range is terrible for what it is, which huge surprise, the thing's 6,000 pounds. Can't imagine why the range would be bad on that. The charging doesn't seem to be quite right. There seem to be a lot of glitches with the vehicle, and that's really what I want to talk to you about as far as my experience goes. Now, they've been telling us at the dealers that we're going to have these cars 6 months ago. My particular dealer still hasn't taken delivery of even one. I know there's a few out there that have gotten one, but we haven't even gotten one yet. And to me, all that says is that they're having big problems with this thing. And they're struggling to resolve all the issues. Anytime there's a delay on vehicles that they've promised us, that's the only reason. It's because they've got problems and they don't know how to fix them. And so you got this car coming out that's probably going to be $75,000, $80,000 that really isn't that fast. It looks okay. I have no problem with the looks. That's fine. And it's not very good as an EV, but most importantly, anyone who buys this car is going to be the beta tester out there, and I can guarantee you, you're going to have some problems with it through that first year, if not further on down the line. That's exactly what happens with every single brand new model that comes out of any vehicle. Now, some have it less than others, but as a cautionary tale, I would point out the Jeep Grand Wagoneer. They rushed that thing out into production, and my God, has it been a disaster. That vehicle has so many problems, it's unreal. And they're asking a premium price for it. And now here we have the Charger that they're also asking a premium price for. That's also a brand spanking new vehicle with brand new technology that so far the reviews are saying isn't quite ready yet. Should you buy one? Now I want to let you guys in on a little thing too. We were supposed to have the EV Ram truck a while ago. Still nothing. Radio silence on that. We were supposed to have the EV ProMaster van a while ago. Radio silence. There's problems with these things, and they don't know how to fix them yet. And so that's why we haven't gotten them at the dealers and sold them yet. And the problem is their entire sales strategy is based on selling these EV vehicles that sounds like don't work. And so I have a real problem with where Stellantis is at currently, and I worry about my future prospects based on their strategy moving forward. That's why I'm so excited that there was a change at the top, and we might see some alternative options. Now, I do want to clarify something here in this video too. I do not hate electric vehicles. I think they absolutely have their place, and there is a certain percentage of the population that they're a perfect fit for. People who are living in urban populations who have really short commutes or something of that nature, fantastic. Absolutely, I am all for that. But there's a lot of us who don't have that kind of situation, but also more importantly, we live in really cold environments. It is freezing out here, and battery tech just isn't quite there yet. But more importantly, the charging infrastructure in this country, especially in areas like the West Coast, you get in the more rural areas, not very good, not very good. So that's something that we just don't even want to think about. We just want to drive our vehicle, run it to the gas station, fill it up and go. Also, with reports that with the government changing that there may be a reduction or even a removal of these EV tax credits, well, there goes yet another incentive to actually buy these vehicles. But obviously we do have some good news in that Tim Kuniskis is back as the CEO of Ram. Now we'll see, time will tell if they'll kind of fold some of these other companies like Jeep and Dodge underneath his control. But that can only be a good thing because here you have a guy who actually understands these Mopar owners and what sort of vehicles they actually want to buy. Novel concept, I know. Let's think about building cars that people want to buy that are our loyal customers and have been for decades. We can only hope that that's going to turn things around from here. Now going forward, what sort of steps do I think the company needs to make in order to thrive once again? Well, I've already mentioned it a couple of times, make vehicles that people actually want to buy. We got to get some positive buzz happening here for some vehicles that are actually coming out. It feels like every new vehicle they announce, they're apologizing for it as it comes out. That's no way to run a company. You can't be doing that. You got to be absolutely excited. I remember when the Hornet came out and Kuniskis was trying his hardest to sound enthusiastic about it, and it was just sad. Same thing when he had that horrible CGI generated commercial about the new Charger EV.
Ultra high performance, 550 kilowatt discharge rate, all work together to ensure maximum acceleration, but hurt efficiency.
Now, normally, you would never do things like that. But when was the last time anyone calculated the fuel economy of their muscle car? Yeah, they never did. That's not why they bought it.
Oof, that was rough. But if they can come out with some models, again, keep the EV stuff. Keep it as a segment of your offerings. Don't make it the mainstay of your offerings. So that's my hope here going forward, is that the very first thing they're going to do is immediately start developing cars that we actually want to buy. Now, going along with the concept of actually building cars that people want to buy, well, what do people want? Well, they want their V8 engines back, right? We got to have those. And I'm hearing these reports that they're trying to bring back the Hellcat engine to swap it in different vehicles as best they can. That's great. I love the Hellcat engines. What an amazing engine that is. But we're going to have to move forward from here too. The Hellcat engine has got to be a stopgap. They're going to have to do a clean sheet redesign of the Hemi engine. We're going to see a new one out there that could lead us into the future. And I'm really excited about that concept more than anything else. But we're going to talk about that in my next video. Now, the final thing I think they have to do moving forward, if they want to be successful as a brand, is they've got to bring these prices back down again. And really, that's going to be the toughest one, because I'm not sure how you do that. I'm not sure you bring the prices up so high and then drop them significantly enough to get people back in the doors to actually buy your products again. That's going to be a really tall task, because Tavares was out here just cutting jobs left and right. He was moving a lot of this stuff out of the US as best as he could. He was trying to cut costs wherever he could, but also pricing these vehicles at the maximum level. And that's just not a sustainable business plan in my mind. You're eventually going to hit that peak point where people are like, this car is not worth the money. And I feel like that's people's feelings on most of the Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram offerings right now. They're like, this is not worth it. I mean, you've got a 392 powered Jeep Wrangler. That's a cool car. If you've never had a chance to drive a 392 Wrangler, that is a really cool car, and it is super fun. But is it worth $95,000? No, it's a Jeep Wrangler with a 392 in it. I mean, you know, it's got some 35s on it. It's got cool styling, that kind of stuff, but it's not worth $95,000. Let's not be ridiculous here. Then you got the Jeep Grand Wagoneer selling for $125,000. The TRX, when that was available, was selling for $110,000. The Ram 3500s fully optioned out are over $100,000. This is insane. Like, I feel like I'm solidly middle class. I can't buy these things. Like, are you nuts? I'm not gonna buy a six-figure car. That's it just blows my mind. But that's my opinion, that they've got to come back down with these prices. They got to come back to earth and provide value for what they're asking for these things. I mean, realistically, if I'm buying a $100,000 vehicle, I better feel like I'm getting $100,000 worth of value out of it. And I just can't say that I do currently with their current lineup. So those are my biggest thoughts about where Stellantis has gone wrong, where they can move forward from here. Obviously, I want to hear from you guys too. Let me know. What do you think? What are the biggest obstacles they face right now? And what are some of the things they can do in the future to be successful? I appreciate you guys. We'll see you next time on Reignited.